Welcome to the Raptors Show, powered by DoorDash on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. I'm your host, Will Lou. A reminder, we are streaming live on Sportsnet's YouTube channel and airing live on Sportsnet 360 Monday to Friday between 1 and 3 p.m. I'm joined by producer and co-host Alex Wong. Alex, how you doing, man?
I'm good. TGIF.
No, I agree with you, honestly.
We made it.
This is a TGIF for real, because you came into the office, and I'm like, are we going to do more Raptors Sixers previews? And yes, we will. That's right. We are on to hour 9 and 10.
We are.
This is the most previewed series quite possibly ever.
Yeah, preview, week of the century. By the way, it's Easter weekend, so people are off today, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
So, shouts to everybody who's not working. No, because I went downstairs.
Name me 3 Easter facts right now.
Because I went downstairs to the Tim Hortons here in the Rogers building, and it was closed today. And that's when I realized it's a holiday.
Right.
So,
that's actually when I realized the holiday is when I'm inconvenienced.
Yeah. Anyways, aside from Raptors Sixers content, we will make our official predictions today, and we will go through a few leftover questions, even though I feel like we have gone through every single topic. Will and I will also, in the final segment today, go through the rest of the playoffs and make our picks to go up against each other. But there's only 2 reasons I think people are tuning in. One is that Will is going to continue his Will Lou Top 75 Animals coming up later.
Back by popular demand.
Yeah, back by one person's request.
That's all it takes on this show. We're that in tune with what the fans want. One person asks for animals. There's animals on the Raptors Show again.
Yeah. With great views comes great responsibility. But
with
also,
one view comes great responsibility.
But also, I guess the other reason is we're teasing this morning. You were at practice yesterday.
That's right.
When I had to hold it down for half an hour and tell people that in the playoffs, nobody's trying to lose. You were there interviewing Bobby Webster, general manager of the Toronto Raptors. Is that his whole title right now, or did they add anything to it? I feel like they're always like promoting him.
Yeah.
And he's got new titles. But yes, so we've got this Bobby thing. Anything you want to say to kind of tee it up? I thought personally it's interesting. I'm excited to hear this. So I personally haven't heard this. I think, we've heard so much about Masai's story, right?
Yeah.
Like he started out, I think at one point he was an intern for the Orlando Magic. And, Bobby's story, I think people might have known by now, but like people don't hear from Bobby so much, right?
Yeah.
So I'm actually really interested. Anything you want to tee up?
Well, just in terms of preparing for these things, as you know, like there's a lot of listening through interviews and reading a lot of articles and just trying to find out as much as possible about the guests, so that you can have a really nice conversation that's really informed. There's very little to be found about Bobby Webster. It's almost like this guy was going to be a CIA agent or something, which, by the way, we will hear about. So it was a really fun interview. Bobby's always shown me a lot of love, and I was a little surprised that we were granted this much time to speak with him. It felt very cool to do so. And, without further ado, this is our interview with Raptors general manager Bobby Webster, the big man, the real big man. We're here with Bobby Webster, general manager of the Toronto Raptors, ahead of the first-round matchup against the Raptors and the Sixers. Bobby, thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me. Look forward to it.
Yeah, there you go. So let's just start with the series. You got Philadelphia coming up. How do you sort of see this shaping up at the outset of the series?
Yeah, I think there's initial, hesitancy to kind of put too much based on what happened in the regular season. So you kind of want to approach it, I think, fairly open-minded, which is, this is the playoffs. And I think we all know it's a different set of intensity, different set of effort. So I think you want to come in and say, listen, what are new things they may do? What are new things we may do? But really, just making sure that the team is in a position to kind of block out the noise, prepare what they need to do, get down to Philly. Obviously, we know it'll be a pretty raucous crowd. And really just prepare our team right now.
Right. Well, you think back to 2019, the last time your two teams met. I guess you would know this better than anybody, but it's pretty crazy how quickly the NBA changes, right? You think about the series itself. You got Embiid, Harris, I think Furkan Korkmaz, and then on your side, Fred and Pascal, the only guys who played in that series. And obviously they have a new coach, they have a new, president and everything like that. When you think back to that series, Game 7, I know there's been stories about Masai and sort of where he watched the shot and everything like that. Do you have a story about the shot?
Yeah, I think I've said it before, but it's probably worth repeating here. I usually sit up in the stands behind our bench. I don't know, for whatever reason, I think that series I started to like come down towards the end of the game, and I actually stood next to Coach Nurse's wife. And so I kind of watched it with her.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
Nice.
that's my story.
All right. Well,
Well, the best part of the story, though, is I had my camera out because I was looking back with everybody, and everybody had their cameras. And I was like, maybe this was one of those moments. I got to take my camera out.
really?
Okay. so I take my camera out. Okay. And I'm not really paying attention to the screen because I'm watching the game. So, I hit the record button, and so he hits the shot. Everybody goes crazy. I put my phone away. I'm like, I'll look at it later. So I don't know, whatever. Hours later, I'm like, let me see what the shot is. Didn't hit the record button.
Oh
Nothing.
my goodness. No, that's I was gonna say. I feel like for you guys, like you guys are probably part of so many big moments. Like I didn't know you guys pulled your phones out too.
It was, I think there was a time. The most obvious was a timeout before it, and so I
Okay.
remember I was looking back in the crowd, and you can imagine, like literally every person in the arena
everybody,
has a crowd. So I'm like, it kind of hit me like maybe this is one of those moments I should. I don't typically do it, but in that moment I was like, all right, let's
Right.
see what I can get, and I got nothing.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, well, thinking back to this time around, it's gonna be a different roster. The challenge is still the same. Largely, you have Joel Embiid on the other side. It's gonna be very hard to stop him. Is there any chance you guys sign Marcus All back? Maybe get him a courtside ticket at least.
I think he is playing, so I think he's out in Spain playing. It did cross my mind, but no, I think I think we got to go with what we got here.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Well, it's gonna be a really interesting matchup, right? Because your team, the Raptors, have not gone away from the center, but there are no 7-footers on the team, for example, like what you would think of as a traditional center. And then of course you have Joel Embiid on the other side, who is a contender for MVP this season. When you think back to the way you constructed this roster and think to like what it sort of turned out to be. I mean, first off, am I even correct in the assertion that like the center position was something that you guys weren't as, maybe it wasn't as much of a priority to get a true 7-footer on their team, anything like that?
I think it's an interesting question. I think the best way to think about it is that there's never like finality to any roster, right? And so I think like, we could go into this season clearly not having that position, but I don't think there's ever a point where we said we don't want it, right? And so I think, whether it was a trade deadline or as we approach any of these off seasons, I think for us has always been what's the right fit, and can that style of player, whether it's a guard, a wing, or a big, fit with how we want to play. And so I think that's kind of the way we view it, and I think that's kind of how we built this team, not necessarily with an end goal, but let's see what this looks like.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's worked pretty well because, you guys have had, look, obviously the regular season success is one thing. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. There'll be more adjustments. But I think you guys have done quite well against Embiid, at the game against Jokic in Denver. You guys were able to come back in the fourth quarter. Even the game at home here, empty arena, but, it was a last-second play, and OG could have made the game-winning basket there too. But so I think you guys have actually done quite well in this strategy, even against some of the best centers in the league. And I think, when you think about the philosophy of the roster, right, you guys often play 5, 6, 9 guys at once. The positions are kind of overlapping in a way. But, I guess in year one of this experiment, having the roster like this, what are your initial thoughts in terms of how it's shaping out? Is it sort of how you expected it to be?
It's kind of gets back to like expectations and what you thought the year would be. And so I'd say from that point of view, we wanted to be competitive. I think we had a competitive season. I think the end result isn't necessarily the goal. I think we wanted to see the improvement. So we've seen improvement, from the high end with Fred and Pascal and OG through the middle of the roster, through to some of the new guys. So I think from that point of view, that's been the biggest kind of note for us, is that we've seen improvement throughout the roster, and that's what we challenged, and that's what the goal of this year was.
Right. Okay. Well, it's when you look at this roster, it's interesting because I was listening to Kevin Durant on another podcast, and he was talking about how he sees the future of basketball sort of essentially like this, like 6'9", 6'10" guys at all positions. They can play all the positions. They can pretty much do everything on the court. And that's sort of where he sees the future of the game going. And I guess my question to you, I mean, because I can't ask Kevin. It'd be nice if I can request Kevin, but it's a little bit hard to get him. why is like that 6'8" to 6'10" range? Why is that the sweet spot in terms of the size and sort of the build that people try to go for here?
Can't forget the wingspan though.
Okay.
I think that's part of it too. So I think it's the size, the size and the length. I don't know. I think sometimes when you talk about what's the future of basketball, I think people have been saying this for a long time. So in some ways, I'm almost like, okay, is it here, and like what's the next thing, And so we're kind of like living in this moment with most of the top players kind of fitting that bill, and so I don't know. Is it too early? Are we like are we peak 6'9", or are we should we be thinking about what's next? But I think what probably the consensus is on why is that, the obvious ones. They're switchable. If they can shoot, pass, score, then they can kind of check off all those boxes offensively. The ability to game plan against it's hard, right? You can't kind of find the weakness. I don't think it's anything super secret as far as what you all see. I think the more difficult part is probably finding those players.
Right. Well, do you think like the skill set of these type of players is starting to catch up with like the size of it? Because it seems like, whenever you look at the draft nowadays, there's like, Evan Mobley in Cleveland this year, right? You look at this upcoming draft and you'll have a guy like Chet Holmgren, and you even look at your roster, like a guy like Chris Boucher. Like you're seeing more and more skill packed into sort of like taller and taller players. Is it also a sense of like the skill is starting to catch up with sort of the philosophy there too?
Yeah, and I think it probably starts at a much lower level, right? When we start to watch kids when they're 16, 17, 18, you already start to see that. And so I'm not involved enough in that world. But, yeah, I imagine if you're 6'9" and 6'10", as you come up, let's say you're 6'1", 6'2", you may not be put in the post like you did anymore. So these kids are just developing the skill set at a different range, at a different rate. And so is that thinking back to Nowitzki and some of these guys that kind of changed the perception of what a big man can be. And I think now we're seeing the generational change of players coming up, whether it's internationally or, in North America, that saw that, want to do it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't even know if I go to a game anymore, like with high school kids where there's like throw it in the post and go get, I don't know. There's a couple of those kids maybe, but it's just not, I don't know. We always say, when will be the next, 7-footer who just dominates in the post. But I think it'd have to be a specific upbringing of that kid with a coach and with a program who's like, all right, this is what we're going to work on.
Right. Well, I mean, when you think about sort of, team building and things like this, there's obviously lots of trends and strategies and, people adapt and stuff like that. And I'm sure for you guys, you and Masai and the rest of the front office, you guys are always probably trying to look to what is the next adaptation, staying ahead of the curve. So with the 6'9" strategy right now, like, where do you think you guys are on the curve?
I think the difference that you say between us and maybe other teams are everyone has a few. Maybe we just have more of them, right? I don't think that we're as far as like we have, the best one or the worst one. I think we have a lot of them. I think that's probably the main difference as far as just quantity of them.
Okay. Well, going back to this season, the decision to draft Scottie Barnes, you guys moved up to 4th through the lottery. When that decision happened, right, when the lottery was there and you guys were up to 4, was Scottie sort of always the guy for you at that time? Was that sort of like the name that immediately popped into your head of like, we're in range for this guy who, let's be real, Scottie is, I would say, maybe even the leading contender for Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, I thought back about this. A couple people have asked. So we have the lottery in mid-May. I think we were slotted 7. Mm-hmm. We jumped to 4. People remember we did everything in Tampa.
Right.
So I think we kind of like, once we got the 4th pick, in mid-May, we're like, all right, like we already knew it was a big decision. But essentially our whole organization moved down to Tampa for the month of, it's June. I'm off a month. So draft lottery in June. We moved down to Tampa in the month of July. And I really think like the organization understood kind of the impact of this decision. And so whether it was obviously the scouts who start to identify players, the coaches who are going to go put them through workouts, the medical staff who's going to assess them, I think it was just like an incredible group effort for us to say, it's a huge decision for the franchise. We knew we didn't want to have another losing season like that. And so let's make sure we get this decision right. And so specifically to who the player was, I think there was always do we take this player over that player? I just remember the mindset we went in was we're going to get to see all these really top kids play. We're going to get to meet them. We're going to spend time with them. How do we get to know the kids? Like putting together that whole 36 hours in Tampa for a kid. To me, that's where you had to really go in open-minded and saying I might lean one way or the other, but let's really try and get to know these kids. And then after we're seeing everybody, then let's duke it out and have the debate.
Right. That makes sense. Well, with Scottie, obviously he's had such a phenomenal year. Does it even surprise you in a way how good he's been? I mean, he started the whole season.
Yeah. I mean, I think going back to watching him at the draft workout in Tampa, summer league, training camp. To me, the fun part of it has been, and we haven't had a kid kind of that young and that talented in here in a while, is he just gets better by the day, by the week. And I think that's been really fun for us all to see. And then as far as expectations, you can go in do you think he played this many minutes? Would he start every game? Maybe a couple of those you kind of tick off, but to tick all of them off, I think is obviously a testament to who he is and what he's been able to accomplish this year.
Well, I mean, speaking to his age and his energy, I think there's already been a lot of legendary stories about Scottie and his personality. Do you have a favorite Scottie story? Has he randomly hugged you out of nowhere or?
Oh yeah, that's not even that's just normal occurrence.
Oh, that's every day? Okay.
Yeah, that's normal occurrence. I'll be honest, I think being from Florida with all the warm weather, he's always wearing shorts no matter how cold the weather is,
Okay.
and it's not knee-length shorts. These are, thigh-length shorts. So just little funny stuff. But yeah, on a day-to-day basis is, you can't teach it. You can't instill it in somebody. I think that energy and charisma is just who he is. And, it carries him through obviously a lot in his life, and it carried him to this point.
Right. Well, the other big move that over the last year was getting Precious Achiuwa back in the Kyle Lowry sign and trade. Obviously, in a sign and trade, you're trying to respect Kyle's wishes and obviously how important he was to the franchise. But getting Precious Achiuwa back, I guess, how long back did you guys like Precious, and sort of what did you like about him? And having seen him in your gym for the last year, what has stood out to you about Precious?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. So I think Precious was a kid we rated really highly coming out of the draft. You can go back to his career. I think we probably all saw him either for the first or my first time was at Hoop Summit, which I guess he'd probably been before going to college. We actually had a random game where we played the Trailblazers and Oregon was playing Memphis, so I saw him there. So you see him a bunch, and I think you saw him transition at Hoop Summit. He was kind of this big wing who shot threes and ran up and down the court. He goes to Memphis. I think Wiseman goes out after 3 games. Then they put him in kind of that small ball 5 position. Then you see him a little bit differently in Miami. So I think we had seen the range of Precious as far as what he could do, and then really the I don't say the difficulty, but really the challenge of it all is, okay, what does he look like for us, and what's the natural fit and position with us? And I think that versatility, which we're seeing, you've seen at different points in his career, but you didn't see it consistently. And so I think that was kind of the bet, which is can he kind of do what we're starting to see now? And I think even he would say it's fits and starts, but the development of him and the process for him, I think, has been really rewarding for everybody.
Right. And, when you look back at the last few acquisitions you guys have made, especially the young guys, I mean, Scottie, Precious, even Justin, Delano, these are guys who reputationally didn't have the 3-point shooting as a main key skill, but it seems to be something that, maybe it's just my assumption, is that a teachable skill for the Raptors organization, where you guys sort of look at it we can get a guy in here and make them better as shooters? Because I think we've seen pretty good evidence of that too over the years.
Yeah, I think we've it's debatable how much you can improve, but I think at least we have a number of examples, right? So when Pascal came in and OGs, it's kind of looking at the mechanics, obviously having the mindset, and then obviously having the program and the coaches to come in and say, okay, from day one with Scottie, what are we focused on? What are the 2 or 3 things? So you can even look at all of their shots and see how they've evolved since college or even high school. So for sure, it's I think it's talked about a ton in the NBA because shooting's so important. But I think for us, it's probably like one of 5, 6 things. But for sure, we think that you can improve it.
Right. Well, how much of that is Nick Nurse too? Because I know Nick has obviously a very interesting life history, so interesting that he has a biography out. And I was reading the biography, and there's one story in there that always stood out to me where, back when he was like a first year as a D League coach, after games he would go out into the parking lot and like put flyers under like on the windshield of people's cars to like teach them how to shoot. Like he was like a shooting teacher at that time. So I guess, I mean, I don't know, maybe this is just like the stuff of legends really, but is Nick part of that reason why you guys feel confident that you guys can get these guys to improve shooting?
Yeah, I mean, Nick loves shooting. I think he was probably a pretty good shooter when he played.
I got a question about that coming up.
The lore, I think he's probably taught, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of kids to shoot in Iowa, based on, he said you have these huge camps and everyone would come in and, form shooting and all the stuff that's, pretty basic, but I think is important if you want to be a good shooter. So no, definitely a big part of who Nick is, and I think what he likes to teach.
All right. Well, I mean, on the subject of Nick, so you guys made the midseason acquisition for Thad Young, a veteran who has been very dependable. I think he's fit in pretty seamlessly with the roster. How happy was Nick to get a veteran like that in his locker room who he can basically, assign whatever position to, get him to help sort of even manage the locker room in a sense? Like, how happy was he with the Thad Young acquisition?
Huge, not just Nick and the coaches, obviously the players. Talking to Fred and Pascal and OG, like they knew they were going to come in and have a heavy lift in the locker room. Mm-hmm. And so to just kind of have, another adult in there that, has been through it, that, I think for a lot of the younger guys are going to respect, going to kind of command that immediately. But like most of these, you have to be able to produce on the court. And I think Thad's, worked his way into that, and it's really been, a great fit so far.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, in terms of your assessment of the roster, I know you guys talked here about there goes Masai. I remember Masai even at the start of the season, I think maybe the home opener, he was on record saying this is going to be a developmental year, you're going to have some patience with this. But when people hear developmental year, they're thinking, wow, okay, so, it might be tough. You guys might pivot in a certain direction. Was there a certain like stretch of the season or any one game or anything like that where you decided, wow, there's something really good here, right now, and we need to add to this group? Because I don't know if a lot of teams coming into the season would have expected you guys to be buyers at the deadline.
Yeah, I think, for one, you don't really want to listen to too much of the noise. And I think, maybe the kind of term developmental, it can mean a bunch of things. And I think, what we touched on earlier is the development of the players. And if that goes from a non-playoff team to a playoff team, that's fine too, right? Development is not just, looking at the lottery. And then specifically, what was the second part?
Yeah, was there like a stretch in the season where you guys felt like there's something really here you want to add to this group? Or was that maybe the plan all along, really?
No, I mean, listen, we were going to let it play out because I think we were saying, listen, if we're close
Mm-hmm.
and we think we have a chance to kind of go for it, let's do it. And so I think I think it may be a little difficult to like kind of see, but like you can't go into these years like having so like living game to game, like, oh, we played great or we didn't play, and
That's
I think
good advice from me personally.
and so
well, for fans, literally,
as much as like we go whatever we started off not great or at home, like you get upset, but it's like you really can't like react to that. And so if you like what you built and what the coaches and the messaging that we had sent to the players that we felt was coherent, consistent, and they were capable of doing, I think that's what you rely on. And I mean, I don't know where we were at the deadline. I think we were right in the mix there. So I think it made sense. And for me personally, I feel like the way we played probably, which was after the deadline, was it on the West Coast trip?
Yeah.
Where, to me, that was where I was like, okay, can we make some noise? I think like before that, I was like, okay, we're in the mix for the playing. Can we get up to 5 or 6? But I think after that trip and seeing them play together and kind of like rise to the occasion, I think the Phoenix, Denver, then we go to LA.
Right.
To me, that was like, okay, now we can kind of make some noise.
Right. Okay, that's fair. All right. Well, look, listen, I wanted to pivot and ask about you a little bit as well. I know,
For sure.
Look, I did a lot of research for this interview, and I couldn't find much of anything except for a really, really good feature by Dan Robson over at The Athletic. Definitely recommend everyone to go check that out. It's a few years ago, but it's definitely still very good. A couple of details I want to follow up on, if that's okay.
For sure.
So one of the notes, you finished your undergrad in 3 years, including 1 year abroad in Barcelona, and your options out of school were either to pursue a job in the CIA or to work in the NBA. So is there ever a time where your mind wanders, like, what if, I made the wrong choice? Not that you did, by the way. I think this was a great choice.
No, it's fun. Yeah, I think some of it's a little bit of the same type of like mindset you have to have.
Really? What do you mean?
Yeah, I think you have to. You're like constantly evaluating stuff. You're trying to get information. You're trying to make really good decisions.
Okay.
Not totally on the same level, but just some of the things that appeal to me. I guess I do, but like live an incredibly like lucky life and fortunate. Like I'm not gonna think too hard about what could have been. But yeah, there was a point in my life when I was like 20, 21 where it was, am I gonna move to New York and do the NBA, or am I gonna go to DC? And I think like at that point it was like really in my head. But at this point I don't think about it too much.
So how do those conversations, like, do you talk to your parents? You talk to your friends at that time? Like, hey, I'm having a really tough time coming out of school, big life decision, I could either go CIA or NBA, How do those conversations even go with a regular person? Because I'll be like, what
I
do you
don't
mean?
know. I think I obviously talked to my mom and my dad a lot. Yeah, a couple mentors to me at the time.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to think. I think my mom told me one point recently she didn't know why I went to start work for the NBA. She didn't get it at the time.
That's a very classic Asian mom.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
all good, man.
She didn't see the future. She's
Right?
like, what are you
She's
gonna do with it?
Come on, man. The CIA was right there.
Exactly. And then I never would have saw you again. I don't know. If you ask 21-year-old Bobby, I'd probably have some more clarity. But
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah, that's all.
All right. Well, so Masai offered you, obviously, the job here in Toronto back in 2013 when he returned here, but he also offered you a job as far back as 2010 when he was in Denver. So you said no at that time, but then you eventually said yes. How did he get you to say yes?
To be honest, I didn't know a ton about Masai, right? And so he kind of calls me up and says, know a little about you. I'd like to meet you. You want to come to Denver? At the time of the, I don't even know how old I was. In my 20s in New York, pretty fun from that point of view. It was right before the 2011 lockout in the NBA. I knew that'd be a big part for me.
Right, okay.
So it kind of was like, I'm not saying no forever, but like, maybe the time doesn't feel right. Then obviously continue to follow him in Denver, the success he had. I got to a point in my career in New York at the NBA where I kind of been through the trenches and I felt like I was ready to make the jump. And so, yeah, the timing ended up working out.
Fair enough. I imagine you were in very, very high demand at that time. It's obviously now as well, but I mean, especially at that time, you had just written the CBA and everything like that. I feel like that's a nice competitive advantage. I feel like for a lot of teams. All right, well, I just got the little wrap up signal, so I'm gonna move to my real rapid fire questions.
All right, go for it.
Okay, here we go. In the bubble, Jimmy Butler launched Big Face Coffee by bringing in a special machine to his room and charging players $20 per cup. But you also did something similar with Cafe 416. So, what is your go-to coffee drink of choice?
Yeah, that was a big what if of the bubble. If we could have won Game 7, we could have had the showdown in the bubble.
Right. Yeah.
So it'll always be one of the big what ifs in Raptors history. My go-to drink is a cappuccino.
Okay. Nice.
What's your go-to drink? No coffee.
A double espresso kind of guy. Yeah.
Right.
I know it's a little basic.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I mean, when you opened 416, was it like, all right, so Jimmy's got the player market cornered. You're like, I'm gonna get the exec and coach corner. Or no?
We could go deep on this one, but listen, I wasn't charging anything. There was no price for mine. I forget what floor Miami was on, but it was close.
Okay.
I don't think Jimmy had the espresso machine. I think Jimmy might have been doing pour over. It was a whole. That's what I'm saying.
That's not the same, man.
That's what I mean. It was a whole different. It was a whole different world.
Okay.
So it was no. We had the player group too, because I think at the time we had like Gasol. So we had the Euro espresso drinkers. We kind of had Sergio come in for his morning espresso. Some of the Americans like Americano. So we had a lot of different options.
All right. Wow. Okay. Good. Rapid fire number 2. In your post-game interview after picking Delano Banton 46 this season, you said shout out to Rexdale. So my question is, have you been to Rexdale?
I have been to Rexdale. I can't say I know all the landmarks there, but I have been to Rexdale.
Okay, no, that's enough for me, man. I'm from the West Side too. Okay, that's great. All right, next one. From a very reliable source who has taken the court with you many times. They swear by your jumper and they say you have unlimited range. That's an actual quote, by the way. Unlimited range out to half court. So the question is, fate of the universe on the line, you or Nick Nurse, who you taking for that shot?
What, a half court shot?
No, not half court shot.
Just a shot.
Let's just like a 3-pointer.
Nick can shoot. This is a tough. I mean, I obviously got bet on myself.
Oh, okay. I like this. No, seriously. My source told me, yeah, you'd be surprised. Although I did see you shoot one time in Quebec City. We got that on camera one time when I was at Yahoo.
Yeah, you made it famous.
Yeah. All right. Well, 3 quick ones before we go, or 2 quick ones before we go. From one Asian to another, what is your go-to karaoke song?
Yeah, that have to only be done in person.
Oh, come on. You're telling me not one song's coming to your mind right now?
It is, but I'm not gonna say that one on here.
Why not? All right.
Where do you want to go do karaoke?
I know a lot of good spots in Toronto, man.
All right.
Koreatown, definitely. You know the
All
vibes.
right.
All right, last one. Last year, it was revealed that the Raptors had nicknamed Utah Bobby Webster. So I just want to know who gave him that nickname. It feels like Kyle.
I'm pretty sure it was Kyle.
That's not fair. You
But
guys,
I also
you guys don't even look alike.
But we're not gonna go there either.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah. I mean, listen. There's been an ongoing joke between me and Utah that I've wanted to go to ramen with Utah all season. I've actually interviewed him a couple of times and asked him, and he did agree to do it. So we're gonna have to hammer out the logistics. I guess my last question is: have you been to ramen with Utah?
I have not. You
guys should, man.
We shared some sushi in Tampa. It was not very good. No, we talk about spots here. I think COVID was so weird with like being able to, I always think like that was one of the things. Even I remember we drafted Malachi last year. It's like I love to be able to just go hang out, but like it's just not, but yeah, I think Utah was so pumped to come up here because you heard about all the good food. And I don't know, what's your favorite ramen spot in the city?
Ramen Ishin, which I did suggest to Utah. And by the way, Utah has his jersey retired there.
That's why it's legit. I used to live right by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Ramen Ishin, #1 spot in the city. All right, Bobby, thank you for your time. You've been super generous. I know you got a lot of things to do, and appreciate your time.
No problem. Happy to be on.
Yeah, that was our interview with Bobby Webster. And I say our because obviously you held it down here in the studio as I was recording.
No, that was all you, man. It was wonderful. Yeah. He was giving you some CIA dodging there at the end. So he wouldn't even tell you his favorite karaoke song?
Yeah, I forgot to follow up because I did chat with him for like a little bit afterwards too, off the record kind of stuff. Told me a Utah story, which by the way, I'm going to maybe relate to you off air.
Yeah, make sure the
mics,
break. Yeah, make sure the mics are off during the break.
But no, seriously though, it was cool, really cool to sit down with Bobby. I think the one thing with him is just like, because he kind of comes across with like this like really, I don't know, there's like a mystique about Bobby because obviously he's very intentional about, there's not a lot of press on Bobby, right? Like if you look at the Raptors organization, Masai is really forward facing, but Bobby is the guy behind the scenes. Like, from what I know, every decision is Bobby's decision. Obviously it's a team decision, right? But like he's involved in every single decision, as you would expect from every GM. And no, he's done a great job. I think the one thing that I didn't ask him about on air that I probably do regret is trying to get a little bit more detail on the Kawhi Leonard trade, because he was the one running point on that situation. And that is like the greatest trade in franchise history.
Yeah, well, I'm sure this won't be the last time you talk to Bobby. Yeah. So make sure you put that down as a follow-up. So confirmed, don't go for sushi in Tampa.
Yeah, man.
He's like the sushi's bad.
Tampa sushi caught us straight.
So,
my goodness.
So happy early Asian Heritage Month on that interview.
That's right.
Got to get you and Bobby to karaoke. Oh, man. That would be amazing.
Yeah. No, I also, need to figure out what that song is, because what was so secretive about what's your go-to karaoke song? Just be like, yeah, Blink 182, I miss you. Like,
yeah, I guess Bobby just doesn't want to get memed. I respect Bobby, though. Obviously, like you mentioned, I think there's a lot of, like, he does want to keep a bit of privacy, even in this kind of public front-facing job. But he's a very personable guy.
He's
a very personal guy, and be He's super cool to just sit down, like, cameras off, recorders off, just to like hang out. So yeah, we got to hang out with Bobby.
Yeah, well, listen, for me, just like coming into the industry, I already know. Hold on. So just coming into the industry, I was like real nervous about the whole thing. I was like, okay, I didn't go to journalism school. I don't really know how things work, right? And
Right.
like for all these people, I was like, I've seen them on TV, we've covered them, we care about them, but they don't even know who you are, right? Like that's what the experience is for most fans. So when you finally get to meet them, you're kind of anxious. You're like this is it's such a weird experience. You're like literally crossing um behind the screen,
Well, it's
and
like when
seeing
you went on Chris Boucher's podcast.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was crossing that screen, right?
So in this case, though, I was thinking about it, and I was like, the night before, I was like up till 2 a.m. and I was just doing some prep or whatever, because it was kind of a last second thing too. And at some point, my partner turns to me, is like, "Look, it's an Asian person in their 30s living in Toronto. Like, you'd be fine talking to them." I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. It'd be like if I was talking to Alex.
No, seriously.
I mean, like
there-
a version of you that might have gone to CIA instead of EY, but
yeah, yeah.
ultimately,
And
like
makes
it's
a lot more money than me. But like, yeah, I think
only marginally.
I think there is a comfort when we sit down with a Utah or when you sit down with Bobby. And I
Yeah,
also think
that's
too
true.
is
That's true.
interesting to hear him talk about how his mom was like, yeah, like why did you pick this NBA job? Like you would think, even for an Asian parent with those expectations, if you become one of the 30 general managers in the world, in the
Yeah.
NBA, that you have made it,
Mhm.
that you have met all expectations, and there's still questions.
Yeah.
So
I
you,
know.
you can never satisfy your parents. Just give up.
That's why.
Just
Also,
give
by
up.
the way, we need to put Bobby in Crazy Rich Asians too.
Yeah.
This has been my ongoing campaign.
I'm telling you, me and you gotta be an extra in a Marvel movie. Like Shang-Chi 2.
Nah, you better
Just
have,
me and you in the back,
you
like
better have
getting
700
rubbing.
rings for us to be in that movie, man. You might be in the background just getting like destroyed by dragons or something.
I just wanna be- I just-
that's as much as we'll go.
No, man. It'll be me and you in this studio, man. Just like a fight breaks out. I don't know, man.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Please, let's make one movie with Asians without kung fu in it.
Yo, everything everywhere.
No,
all
that's
at
an
once.
exception. That's fine. That's
Yeah.
not a kung fu movie. They just do some
Yeah.
kung fu in that one. Great movie, by the way. Go see that. Actually,
We've been promoting.
that's our honestly, like, this is not even like a free promo kind of thing. I understand
It's
they
free
sent-
promo. It's free promo.
they sent you like some
Yeah.
some-
They
some-
sent me a
some
nice
gear.
movie themed package with the everything bagel and some other stuff.
No, but go watch that movie.
Shows.
Everything, everywhere, all at once. 2 hours, 20 minutes. It's a long time, but trust me, it's
Why
like,
are you giving out the
it's gonna be the
runtime?
best. I don't know. People have busy lives.
It's like watch the Raptors Sixers game 1 tomorrow.
Watch the
3
Raptors
hours
show.
and 4 minutes. Yeah.
It's 2 hours, but it's maybe worth your time. Anyway, we're gonna take a break right here. When we come back, we'll talk more about the Raptors because this is the Raptors Show. So I've been your host, Wolu. You've been listening to the Raptors Show, powered by DoorDash on Sportsnet 590, The Fan. Welcome back to the Raptors Show, powered by DoorDash on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. I'm your host, Will Lou. I continue to be joined by producer and co-host Alex Wong. We're about to go to our shout-outs, but really the biggest shout-out goes to Bobby Webster, Raptors GM, for joining us on the program. Really great, 30 minutes, and I hope everyone got a better sense of, the Raptors and sort of how they do things, and if not, at least they got to know Bobby a little bit better. I'm still confused why he wouldn't reveal that karaoke song, man. What could it be?
I don't know, but now, I think he maybe didn't want it to become a talking point, but now it is going to become
a talking point.
Because everybody's going to speculate about it. Yeah. By the way, need the Raptors, please hurry up and play this game tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Listen, basketball is
rice.
Is rice, but
and life.
No, I'm starving, bro. it's been a whole week without Raptors basketball.
Yeah, the rice
man. What's
cooker
going on?
has been empty, man.
Oh man, we're making kanji out of the ends.
Oh man. By the way, when you asked Bobby his favorite coffee and he asked you what your favorite drink was,
yeah,
I thought you would say, a little taro milk tea with tapioca.
Nah, relax, man.
Regular sugar, less ice.
No, the way you're looking at me is like a walking stereotype, man. No, I drink coffee as well. Right?
I look at you like you're a Tamagotchi, man. Anyways, thank you to everyone who made the Raptors show and the Raptors Reaction Podcast, which has been on hiatus this week because the Raptors haven't played a game. But shouts to everyone who made both of these possible. As always, our producer, Derek Brandeo, 22-year-old intern who has been helping us out. Really appreciate
He's aging one day
the
per
heavy
show,
lifting.
which honestly is pretty accurate. If you got to listen to us 2 hours a day and edit our stuff and do the drops, that's about a year.
No, shouts to Derek Brandeo. Shouts to Jennifer Rolnick helping us out behind the scenes with the YouTube stream. Kyle Cray putting together some wonderful graphics, including our official Raptors Sixers predictions graphic that will come out after today's show with all of our guest predictions, and myself and Will will make our predictions in the second hour. To DT, Greg Sansoni, Pat Flash, everybody else, Ryan Fabro for doing a lot of work behind the scenes, helping us schedule these interviews of the centuries and just helping us in general. And of course, Maria. We'll have a special shout out for Maria next week. Derek, your internship is ending today. But yeah, shouts to Maria, one of the best people to work with in this industry. So shouts to her. And a thank you to all our guests this week. Faisal Kamisa, Danielle Michaud, James Herbert, Blake Murphy, Harrison Sanford, Vivek Jacob, Louis Zatzman, Savannah Hamilton, Joseph Casharo, Joe Wolfon, and of course, Bobby Webster. And now some individual shout-outs. Just want to shout out Tristan Douglas. I think people know him as Half Good on Twitter and Instagram. He set a goal at the start of the season to make 82 Raptors game posters.
Damn.
And delivered. And even he did a partnership with Sportsnet during the season as well.
Yeah.
I saw that.
No,
yeah.
I have, man.
Oh, okay.
I'm not even LeBron on this.
So shouts to Tristan. If you put out your coffee table book with the posters, I'll be the first one to support. I won't even ask for it for free. I only want the Leafs Bieber jersey for free. I support all creatives.
Except for Justin Bieber.
Except for Justin. I think he's doing fine. I think he's doing fine.
I don't know, man.
Is it too late to say I'm sorry?
You're telling me his creative is not worth $100?
Anyways.
Actually, I think it's like $200, but whatever.
Shouts to Keyshawn Mystery, photographer in Toronto, messaged me this morning and said that, the Raptor show makes him feel like he's watching a sitcom every day.
Really?
So we're making Asian Seinfeld, I guess. Keyshawn's still only 25 years old. I honestly
this is unbelievable. But
get it.
No.
Yeah.
First off, salute to Keyshawn. Everyone knows who he is. If you've seen any photos from the 2019 championship run, you know that is the work of Keyshawn Mystery. To think that was his age 22 season as well. That's the Jason Tatum of the Raptors game.
Yeah, he's going to miss game 3 at Scotiabank Arena next week because he has to play in his men's hockey league.
For real?
Yeah.
No, I'm taking back the shout out. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Taking back the shout out.
Keyshawn Wash.
Keyshawn, is pineapple on pizza still an icebreaker? No, we got to get him. We got to get Ali Khan from the Blue Jays in here after the playoffs.
Yep.
Or maybe we can get him to come in and preview Game 7 between the Raptors.
I gave AK a call yesterday. This guy's like, I was like, oh yeah, how you doing, man? He's like, yeah, I'm in New York City. I'm walking through Central Park right now before the game, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right, you big time with the Blue Jays.
He's part of the Blue Jays social media team. Shouts to AK, shouts to Richard, shouts to Maddie, Jess, all the people at the Blue Jays PR and marketing team. Huge fans of them. AK, one of the best people in the sports media industry. And a special fan shout out to Jessica Stairs. This was a request from her friend Jonathan. It was her birthday earlier this week. She's a huge Kyle Lowry fan and a huge listener of the Raptor Show. So we're taking shout outs via fans now.
Yeah,
we're
let's do it. No, let's do it. Listen,
So-
2 hours gives us a lot of time.
Yeah, we're gonna start.
And no, but honestly though, it's like the amount of support like behind the scenes, but also just like in any sort of way, whether that's like people listening or people sharing or people shouting us out or even just here at the company, like people supporting us and making the show possible pretty much across every platform now. It's like, no, it's an incredible feeling. And like, we're not just doing Friday shout outs just because, like, it's genuinely because we have lots of people to try to give thanks to. And this isn't even like half of them really. So it's genuinely really awesome. And I look forward to, seeing lots of people at the arena, I guess, next week when the Raptors play Game 3.
Listen, all the fan support and the shout outs from people about the show, it's like the spirit bomb in Dragon Ball Z, it fuels me, is the energy. So again, I think we established earlier this week only Asians watch Dragon Ball Z, which is
not true.
I know it's a global, I know. It's just
not
a joke.
true, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, shouts to every
It's international
Dragon Ball Z fan out there. Shout out to Amy Audibert as well.
Okay.
She was very in demand this week. I know a lot of shows here on the program was trying to book her, was trying to get her in studio. She is our global ambassador. We let her down this week, unable to book her. I think she's off to Philadelphia today, but I am in contact with Amy.
Yesterday.
Yeah, we're going to get her in studio soon.
I mean, to be fair, it was because Raptors practices happen all week.
That as well.
And it's also like exactly the same time as the show.
I just never want, friends of the program to feel like they're not part of the family. So just want Amy to know that. We're working on some kind of pendant for you, some kind of necklace that she can wear as the global ambassador.
Oh, yeah.
There should be something.
I'm sure she'll be wearing that on all the Sportsnet broadcasts.
Let's go to the Chinatown, head to that, that little counter where they sell the jade.
Which one? Which one, bro? What are you talking about, man? You're like, that place in Chinatown
by the King's Noodles.
I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. That one,
by the way, did some self-reflection this week. Should I go back to ESL? Because I feel like I've made a lot of English mistakes on here.
You've written 2 books.
Starting
and
last
writing
week.
a third.
Starting last week, when Enes Esmer was here, I couldn't pronounce, was it Om Depot?
That's
I said
French.
Om Depot.
That's not ESL. You need,
FSL.
FSL, I guess, yeah.
Also, I confuse astrology with astronomy.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that was tough.
Funny, man.
And I also said
I want to go to space.
And I also said in the playoffs, no one's trying to lose.
Yeah.
So
no, that's not ESL. You can't blame that on English.
Man.
You would have said that in Cantonese too.
I'm worried about myself. Maybe in Asian Heritage Month, do you want to do a full episode in Mandarin/Cantonese?
Yeah,
Sony's like,
Omni
no,
2 broadcast.
we don't.
The Omni 2 broadcast. Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, that would be cool. By the way, it might be a live Raptors show at a location to be disclosed coming in.
That's right.
Asian Heritage Month early teaser. And finally, a fan named Kyle Quismundo. Believe he's from Scarborough. He's music producer / other important jobs / other hobbies.
In Toronto, you got to have at least 2 jobs, man.
Yeah.
This place too expensive to only do one thing.
No, for real, man.
Probably working CIA undercover anyway.
Goddamn. But yeah, he submitted to me an original song that he put together, and we can play this as well because this is his own beat. No copyright issues. We can leave this on the podcast feed. Here's a snippet. Let's play about a minute of this song that he put together because he's such a huge fan of the show.
I'm your host, Willow. You're listening to the Raptors Show on Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
I'm the lethal weapon. I do not finish second. I'm the lethal weapon. I'm the lethal weapon.
We are talking about one of the best franchises of the past decade. Shows to Adam Silver. My 9 to 5 is a 1 to 3.
Wow.
Feels good, man.
Why does this actually bangs? I don't know.
Kawhi would stay.
He stayed in our hearts.
Not mine.
I'm the lethal weapon. I do not finish second. I'm the lethal weapon.
There is a part 2 to that song. Maybe we'll save it for next week when we need a little
Wow.
energy boost. But shouts
No,
to Kyle.
the YouTube
honestly.
chat is going crazy
No,
for
but
this one. man.
Fireworks.
No,
But
we got to
honestly-
release this as an individual song on Spotify, man. Put it on the podcast feed.
No, honestly, this really appreciate it, Kyle. We
Oh my
will,
God.
if you're okay. I can't offer you royalties. All I have is like 27 hats in my closet.
I was gonna
that I
say
can offer
a signed cover story is coming to your
Yeah,
door.
I'm
That's currency in the Alex Wong.
I'm almost running out of
universe.
those as well, so let's not throw too many.
It's
of
a
those out
great
there.
spot.
But like, no, shouts to Kyle,
Wow.
and
What a
we
song.
really do appreciate it. I didn't even know I said my 9 to 5 is 1 to 3.
That's crazy. That's such a bar. Damn.
Look out for that on a dad hat, 1 of 1. I'm gonna put that on a hat. Anyways,
Oh, Lord.
yeah, Friday. So when we
Yeah,
come
this is
back,
what Friday is on the show, by the
no,
way.
this is what it is.
Yeah.
But we won't be tossing out 15 nicknames for Matt Devlin to reject
You sure?
today. I mean, we could.
No,
I
that's
could
okay.
freestyle too. I got some bars. No, but
We might need to, man. Put that in the
Breaking case of
breaking case of
emergency.
emergency. Alex Wong has 16 bars.
the first breaking case of emergency topic still says Nick Nurse poker theory, which I'm just gonna continue teasing and we'll get to it at some point. But yes, when we come back in the second hour, one more Raptors Sixers
The last one.
preview segment. I've got some questions for Will. We've got some quotes from the Raptors and the Sixers side. We're going to make our predictions, and then we'll wrap up this week by making all our first round playoff predictions. Playing for $100 SVP or Sport Check gift card is what we're doing. So, yeah, that's it. Please take us to break.
I'm your host, Willu. You've been listening to The Raptors Show, powered by DoorDash on Sportsnet 590. The Fan. Welcome back to the Raptors Show, powered by DoorDash on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. I'm your host, Walu. A reminder, we're streaming live on Sportsnet's YouTube channel and airing live on Sportsnet 360 Monday to Friday between 1 and 3 p.m. I continue to be joined in the second hour by my producer and co-host, Alex Wong, where we will, for the last time, preview Raptors versus Sixers. Coming up this weekend, Game 1 in Philadelphia, 6 p.m. And, you know what? I think even the players and the coaches are tired of talking about this. They probably just want to get the game going so we can actually, start to make some progress and sort of see what adjustments need to be made and, just approach it like how you're going to approach a playoff series, this is going to be a very, very close series, I think. There's a potential for it to go to a shorter series. I think that a lot of things will have to go wrong for Philadelphia and a lot of things will have to go wrong for the Raptors. But, this is going to be long. It's going to be interesting, and I can't wait to come in here every single day to talk about it.
Yeah. You're going to overreact to whatever happens in
Yes.
Game 1 when we come in on Monday?
Yeah,
okay,
of
so
course.
you be the overreact person, and you should rename your pod in the playoffs to Overreact Pod, by the way.
That's what it's called anyway, man. The Raptors Overreact
Mr. Overreact Pod. By the way, we forgot to do Will's 75 Animals, and now, we have
That's
too
too bad, man.
We have too much
Too bad.
here in the second
Yeah,
segment.
Put otters up there.
So please rain check for that next week. I know YouTube stream helper Jennifer Roldick is giving me a thumbs down
Quite disappointed.
because she's been tracking the list as well. Listen, this is Will's call. It's Will's show. I run everything by Will, and he either says yes or no. So
Yeah.
I'm like Bobby Webster. He's like, yes.
I'm putting otter on here.
75 Animals. He's like, no. Let's talk basketball. So let's talk basketball. So a couple quotes. I'm going to read you a couple quotes from Raptors, Sixers, and just want to get your reactions
do it.
on these, if any. And then I have some final questions for you about this series.
Okay.
And then we will make our official prediction. So Nick Nurse said today, quote, "It's going to be so good for our team to play tomorrow. No matter what happens, we're going to learn a lot about who we are and what we've done and where we're going. And that really excites me." I think that really sums up the big picture view of the Raptors going to the playoffs, right?
Yeah, and I think what's really going to be very interesting is seeing how the players react and the limitations that sort of come about. Because, again, when we think about developmental season, right, and I think that's something that Bobby addressed in the interview that we did with him at the first hour, he's like, developmental season can mean a lot of things. It doesn't just mean going to the lottery every year, which I was like, that's a bar, because for a lot of teams, that is what it means. Is what that developmental season means. For the Raptors, developmental season could look like 48 wins, and you take a lot of young guys to the playoffs and see how they go. And it's going to be a really informative process. It's going to be something that's going to earn them some stripes. And I think, honestly, even for the front office, they get to make some very informed decisions based on how these guys perform in the playoffs. You know what Masai's go-to phrase is. We don't even have to interview Masai. He's just going to say it's all about winning.
Yeah, but
in
Masai,
Toronto.
please let us interview you.
No,
Having said that.
100%. Yeah, Bobby was cool, but it's not. It's on to the next thing. It's on to Masai, and I guess we got to get Nick as well. But
Yes.
salute to my guy Bobby. We'll go karaoke in Koreatown soon. But in any case, the playoffs are going to be a real indicator of who can cut it and who can't cut it. And listen, the Raptors have made some pretty firm decisions based on what happens in the playoffs, as most teams should, really, because that's the ultimate ambition, is to go and win another championship. It is not just to do well in the first round here, maybe go past the first round and do all this other stuff. The ultimate goal, the long-term goal, is to win another championship, and this is step one. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, OG Anunoby, a man of many words, said, quote, "I think we're just a different team. There's not another team like us. We're very unique, and I think that makes us special. It'll be tough to play against us." Again, I guess we spent 10 hours talking about this, and OG just summed it up in 2 sentences about, why people like the Raptors' chances in the first round.
I've been working on this for so many years, and he just tweeted it out.
What voice is that, man?
I don't know. This is hour 10 of Raptors Sixers previews. Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that's been really hard for me, even just watching the team closely. And obviously, again, we're watching this thing all the time, right? Even for us who are watching it really close, even for Raptor fans, it's really hard to properly process and assess this team, because they are just so weird. And I think that my word of caution maybe to other fans, because obviously they're not just consuming the Raptor show. These people are super fans. They're listening to all sorts of different podcasts, Low Post, Bill Simmons, all the regular Hoop Collective, podcasts and everything like that. My only word of caution with that is from having watched the Raptors this closely this season, and also someone who does listen to a lot of other programs, if you're not completely attuned with the way the Raptors play, you will probably misjudge them as a team, because they don't actually, you're not really judging them in the same ways that I guess you would assess a conventional team. Like, you're not looking at it like this team has this star power, this team has this whatever advantage, and that's why they win. Like, they are very innovative, they're very unique, as OG says. And I think the real question is, this style of playing the 6'9" basketball, first off, you're going to be playing Embiid for a 7-game series. How is that going to happen, right? How are you going to handle that matchup? Is he going to just run over you in the end? I think for a lot of people picking the Sixers, they're looking at it like the Raptors don't have a guy to guard Embiid. They're all so much smaller. They don't have a 7-footer. Embiid's going to crush them. As Raptor fans, we understand that it's not going to be that simple, right? But I think for the national observer, that is probably how they're going to come about this thing. That's going to be a good test. And the other test is just like, is sort of playing the sort of like 6'9" basketball, like, is this like playoff proof? Does it hold up in the playoffs, or does it really reveal some real cracks? Like, for example, I could easily see, wow, the Sixers are like, we're just gonna let the Raptors shoot threes all game. We're gonna go a zone against the Raptors. Which, by the way, probably honestly, if Glenn Rivers was like, smart about this, he probably should zone against the Raptors, especially against the Raptors bench when they put Chris and Precious in the game, because we've seen that work really well. But like, how playoff proof is this strategy? Is this team build? And then again, from there, you can sort of adjust, like, okay, now that we've seen this happen once before, how do you sort of adjust and adapt to that in the offseason? But ultimately, it's going to be very informative. And it's, I guess the theme of the entire season is like, it's also really experimental, So that's fun. It's interesting. Like, the Raptors are a very interesting team. You can cover them in a ton of different ways that you probably couldn't say for, like, the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, what? So you're doing this too now? So
I don't know, man. You're wearing the pinstripes too. You look like you look like Shaq and Penny.
Just trying not to
from
look like a
95.
poker. Don't want to get called a poker player every day,
But to be fair, you do dress like a poker player every day. I don't know, like you could very well be on Poker After Dark right now.
I wish I was on Poker After Dark. Yeah, I think there is a lot of excitement.
You're on the wrong Sportsnet program.
I think there is a lot of excitement, like you said, outside of the Raptors fan base and people in Philly who are paying attention to this series. A lot of people are picking Philly versus Toronto as a first-round series that they're most excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for all the reasons that you just described. On the Sixers side, James Harden was asked about how his hamstring was feeling yesterday. He said it's good, been doing some sprints and some hamstring work, so it's been a really good week. And then the talk of the pressure on James Harden coming into this postseason. So he said, pressure, no, I feel good. I'm ready to hoop, nothing to it. Joel Embiid also said, quote, you look back at what he's accomplished and what he's done. He had to play against a freaking dynasty. Joel is referring to the Golden State Warriors. It would have been hard for anybody to beat those Golden State teams. So bad timing, but I'm sure he's going to be fine. So we've talked about this all week, but this is
interesting. You know what? By the way, just the only time the Sixers come together as a team is when they lie for each other. It's really sweet. It's genuinely very sweet.
But this is the swing factor in this entire series, which James Harden is going to show up. If you could tell me right now James Harden's box scores for these next 7 games in this series, I would be able to make a way sounder prediction, I think.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And look, as Raptor fans who had to watch the Raptors go into the playoffs for 3 straight years against Cleveland and against LeBron, like, I get that, right? I get that sort of feeling of like, damn, no matter what we do, we're just not going to get past this guy. It's not even our fault. This guy's just so much better than us. And it's something I truly believed until the 2019 championship came and I saw a player like Kawhi Leonard and the rest of the team and how they were constructed. And I saw Nick Nurse, the way he coached the team, and they went through all these obstacles. And I'm like, oh, no, I was just lying to myself. There is another level. You just weren't at that level. That's what the playoffs are about. And, for Harden, he has been to the playoffs quite a few times. He's had good series. He's had bad series. All of that. His numbers are consistently pretty high no matter what. But it's hard to overlook certain outliers, man. It's just there's just certain things in there that's just hard to overcome.
It's not It's not outliers at some point.
What about that Spurs series? Remember Game 6?
Yeah, I remember.
Didn't he get outscored by Jonathan Simmons?
Well, this was when Kawhi was out, and it seemed like that the
Rockets
were going to get back
Jonathan Simmons
into
was
it.
in. You know Jonathan Simmons? You know he was a former player there.
He was a former Orlando Magic. I realize that.
Damn.
Yeah. But no, trust me.
Gag?
There's a long track record there. But I
Mhm.
think at the back of every Raptors fan's mind, there's also a fear that he's going to come out tomorrow. And the problem is, like, even if he is physically fine, you still have to problem solve the Raptors' defense.
Yeah.
And that is why I have more confidence in James Harden not being that James Harden from, all his MVP caliber years. It's really a little bit of both, right? His physical health, but also, like, at some point you have to trust this Raptors defense. I think in the last 20, 25 games, they've been the number 2 overall defense across the league.
Mm-hmm.
And they have done this not against, they don't do it against Detroit, but like not against the bottom feeders, right? They have gone up against some of the best teams in the entire league, and they have come out of that stretch with the defense. And we see it, right? Like, I always go back to the eye test. I don't watch 8 hours of tape like you. But
you don't even watch 8 hours of basketball when you're at the arenas.
Come on, man, please.
Guy's getting a
please,
second
please,
hot dog.
please, please. But like, the eye test shows you too, the Raptors are just so much more connected now on the defensive end versus all the concerns of the. So like, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see. We'll see. We can talk about this in circles for forever about James Harden, but we're just gonna have to see. Last quote Joel Embiid said earlier this week about Toronto and the way that they have defended him the last couple of years. He said, "quote The way they defend me has never changed. They just play recklessly, sending 3 guys at me as soon as the ball is in the air. They made me better, honestly, over the years, just playing against them and watching them. Definitely made me a better playmaker." Many people have made this joke on social media already, is that the Raptors are so good at player development, they are developing other players as well on other teams. So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, first of all, apparently some people got upset about the word recklessly. Who cares about these things, man? Anyway, I think it's pretty accurate. Like, obviously, like, his experiences are very valid in this sense. And I think that, that is kind of how the Raptors guard him. They're going to send 2-3 guys and they're going to let him sort of play downhill. And he's like, yeah, I've become a better player. I've learned how to play out of this, right? Like, I've really been able to move the ball and get my teammates involved. Joel Embiid has he has 8 assists total in the 3 games against the Raptors this season. With 3 guys on him, he has 8 assists. And it's not just guys weren't shooting well, by the way. We saw the last game. What did they hit? 19
threes, yeah.
So
you're telling me Joel Embiid was being real reckless, calling himself a better playmaker, is what you're saying?
I'm not saying he can't pass. I know he can pass, but like, for him, it's just against the Raptors, the stats are the stats. He's had 8 assists in 3 games against the Raptors, even though the Raptors have sent 3 guys at him. Maybe there's a reason why people are sending 3 guys at you. If you're still going to shoot over contested, and if you're going to shoot over double teams, then I think the defense generally is okay with that, as good as Joel Embiid is. So actually, I hope he does continue this approach, actually.
Yeah. By the way, you saw this? All these people dressed up in a dinosaur, like Raptor dinosaur costumes, were roaming around Yonge Dundas Square and in downtown Toronto early this week.
Yeah, I
did we ever get to the bottom of that story? It was just a random flash mob type thing. Like, was there something behind that?
So my question with flash mobs in general, do all these people not have jobs? No, like,
wow,
what do you have the time for this,
This
man?
guy said if you just didn't buy that $6 coffee every day, you would have a job and not have to dress up in
man,
dinosaur
I'm kidding.
costumes.
Okay, look, listen, it's cool that they did this. I'm still not sure what it is.
Yeah, I
If
just
people
want to
can give us
know,
an
like,
answer on this would be great.
I feel like it could have been organized better, but like, I don't want to talk trash about a bunch of people in a dinosaur, costume. Shouts to them. That, by the way, that's how Will Lou has to dress at the arena to avoid running into his fans.
No, man, come on. I could just put on the hood, man.
So if you see a person
Who is this?
in a dinosaur costume, you think this is the one toothpick changes everything meme? So Will just put up his hoodie, and this is how he disguises himself.
It's a big hood too
at the arena.
It's not really doing.
Yeah,
much.
one hoodie changes everything. All right, game 1 tomorrow, 6 p.m. Give me one major storyline that you're looking at for game 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear. Like, I want to see what the defensive matchups are, at least the primary ones, because obviously there's going to be tons of switching, right? Especially in today's NBA. But what are, in general, the defensive matchups? Who on the Sixers is guarding Pascal Siakam? And on the Raptors side, we have a pretty good sense of it. We know that multiple guys are going to be taking turns, and obviously Precious is probably going to be the guy, who's going to spend the most time. I guess to me that's probably a subplot is like how does Nick Nurse adjust his rotation so that Precious spends the most time guarding Embiid? If Precious can come off the bench, it's a little bit harder to match minutes with Embiid. In any case, though, I just want to see what the defensive matchups are, and then I think we can go from there. Really, I think that's going to be like the opening move, like in chess. Like are they going to go, you know, pawn to E5 or I don't even.
Yeah,
know,
my
man.
nephew when he was like 7 beat me in like 3 moves, and I quit. I quit chess forever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Man, I need to. Yeah.
yeah.
I need to go to ESL. I need to learn chess. So I've got.
I've always struggled at chess, by the way. I don't know if you know
Really?
this. Yeah, it's so there's like Chinese chess, which is not Chinese checkers, by the way. That's not even a Chinese game. This was in that era in the 1920s where they're like, let's just put Chinese in front of everything.
I remember that
That's
era.
outdated. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You were 20.
Yeah.
You were in your own roaring 20s back then.
What's wrong?
But no, for Chinese chess, it's actually it's a really cool game. Whatever, right? But it's my dad used to always try to teach it to me because he was really good at it, and he was just like for a long time. I'm convinced my dad just was sure that I was just not like mentally capable of playing this game because he put me in
This is
classes.
the one you're talking about, right? I'm
That's
just
the
showing
one.
you a
There's
photo.
a river in the middle.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
elephants
I
in
played
that game.
I played that growing up too.
Cannons. Yeah.
It's a complicated game to learn when you're a kid. Like
Sure,
I
yeah.
learned it when I was young.
No, but in my life, I've only ever beat my dad once, and I think he
Wow.
took off like 2 of the best pieces. But
Okay.
in any case, yeah, chess is not easy for me.
Stick to Mahjong, man. Mahjong is
He's also beat me
the
routinely. in
number
Mahjong. I
one
can't beat him in any
communal
Chinese game.
sport
He
next
probably
to
beat me in Go as well.
Texas Hold'em. All right. So we've talked about everything this week, okay?
Yes.
How we're going to guard Joel Embiid, what we expect from Pascal Siakam, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Fred's health, OG's importance. I feel like we've covered everything. So I'm going to hit you with a quick first round quiz. I just wanted you
Oh,
to pick from these, okay?
okay.
Number 1, who has more 30-point games in this series, James Harden or Gary Trent Jr.? You got to think a little
Oh,
critically
man.
about this because the defense is geared towards stopping James Harden from having a 30-point scoring game, whereas the defense is not gearing towards Gary.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other part of this is like, okay, so obviously James has a way higher, per game average. Although I think his average with the Sixers was like 21 points, and Gary's averaging like 17. So it's not as different, but obviously we know James is an explosive scorer. He can definitely do it. However, you have to consider that Gary only scores 30 or 10.
Yeah.
Like his average is different, man. You'll score 30 like twice in the series and then
Yeah.
score 10 the rest of the games.
Let's look at if Gary has ever scored in the 20s. No. But yes, I
No,
totally understand
Yeah.
what you're saying. This is
I'm
hard.
still going with James though. Come on,
Okay.
man.
Okay. No, I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay.
Out there.
But this is like surprisingly close. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Like it's not like we're trying to say, oh, we're homers and we're saying
no,
James
no,
Harden and Gary Trent Jr.
there
are
is
the
some thought
equivalent
behind
scorers.
this.
They're clearly not, man.
There is some thought behind this, I promise.
Okay. All right.
Second one, number of 20-point, 10 rebound games from Scottie Barnes in the series. If I were to set the over/under at 1.5.
I'll go over.
Okay.
I'll go over. Yeah. I think for me, he's going to be attacking the offensive glass quite a bit. I actually want to see a fair bit of Scottie, especially when Embiid sits, putting his like mark on the game, especially when the Embiid is not there or if Embiid's covering somebody who's more stretch him out to the perimeter or whatever. Because I think there's a good chance for him to score a lot against a lot of these guys. And I think a lot of it is going to also be, in the typical Scottie Barnes fashion, there's going to be a lot of putbacks, there's going to be a lot of cuts, there's going to be a lot of dunks, rolls to the rim. Like, he's just very good at playing off of the other guys. And again, it's the same thing with Gary. It's like the defense is going to be honed in on taking away Fred and taking away Pascal. So it's about what the other guys can do for you. And in single coverage, can Scottie give you 20 and 10 against a team that outside of Embiid doesn't really look that athletic and they don't really protect the glass? Yeah, I think he can.
Okay.
2 is probably, optimistic. And to be fair, if he has 2 of these, the Raptors probably win the series.
Yeah. So maybe they will win the series.
Okay.
Next up, will Joel Embiid have a game in this series where he scores less than 20 points?
Just 1?
Okay.
No, it'd be multiple, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Because he's a scoring champion, right? Average about 30 points a game basically this season.
Yeah, I mean, look, multiple might be even optimistic because I think he's improved his game to the degree where, like, look, you can force him into taking tough shots, but he can make enough tough shots, and he's taking so many shots that he probably will ultimately just get the raw total to over 20. But I don't know, man. I also saw the last time the Raptors played the Sixers in the playoffs, which obviously had Marc Gasol, and it was different teams, Serge Ibaka, like Kawhi Leonard. Like, come on, like we know that that's a different level, right? Joel averaged 17 in that series, man.
Yeah, I was shocked when you put those numbers out,
Yeah,
considering how
on
dominant they were.
37% shooting.
This is Nicky Nurse, baby.
It's Nicky Nurse, baby.
Yeah, considering how dominant the numbers are in terms of the plus minus when Embiid was on the court.
Yeah, it's fine, man. But what do we? It's like the Raptors were plus 11 with Kyle Lowry on the court when he scored 0 points against Orlando. I'm like, I don't care.
I thought you were going to say Patrick Patterson, the
No.
OG plus
I
minus.
just wanted to say another Orlando Magic reference.
King. Oh yeah, you got to stop me
It's
running
three
this
already
into
in
the
this segment.
ground. That's what I do. So first, this one. So by the end of this series, Raptors fans will be sick of which Philadelphia 76ers player?
Yeah, probably Niang or Maxey. I just think that those guys are obviously Maxey's gonna do a lot better in the series than Niang, but Niang is definitely a guy who can hit the outside shot and probably hurt you a little bit with his scoring. Of course, the Raptors will go at him as well defensively, and I think that's where the Raptors definitely need to do that as much as possible. But no, he's a shot maker, and I think you'd probably be sick of him. To be honest, I thought you were gonna say which official you're gonna be sick of. Because
those are your storylines, not mine.
yeah, can I just quickly put this in here? So James Harden, there's a stat called free throw rate, right? Which is the number of free throw attempts per field goal attempt. Okay. So for example, Pascal, I mean, he shoots like 17 times a game, but he goes to the free throw line 5
Basically,
times.
this is how much you're grifting per field goals.
Pretty much. Obviously, like there's also a difference. Like some guys are just hard to guard, and
Yeah,
you
I mean,
ultimately have to foul them.
like DeMar is an ethical free throw grifter. I feel you
what
don't
does that
think
even mean?
you
What is
don't-
ethical free throw grifting? No.
shouts to that iconic tweet.
Yeah, I
Everything
know,
is
but-
either ethical or unethical.
Yeah. Okay, so just for reference, right? Pascal, I mean, again, these guys play different games. I
Sure.
totally understand, right? But Pascal Siakam, his free throw attempt rate for this season is at 31%.
Okay.
Okay. James Harden's free throw attempt rate in Philadelphia as a member of the Sixers is 65%.
Yeah.
So for every field goal he attempts, he's going to get 0.65 free throw attempts.
I'm just saying, I've seen
That's
Pascal.
absurd.
I've seen Pascal at the basket more than James Harden
Yeah.
taking contact.
So I think again, the question should really be which official is going to need the security escort out of
Yeah.
Scotiabank Arena.
You know-
Like shout out to Mark Davis back in the day.
I wish we could do this. Obviously, the NBA would never make these refs available. But instead of doing like the Scottie Barnes Rookie of the Year propaganda, we have a ref on every week. Just have you grill him. On the line, Evan Scott. So next up, first ref you suck chant at Scotiabank Arena. I've got the over-under at 7 minutes and 35 seconds remaining in the third quarter of Game 3.
What? Oh, game 3, right,
Yeah.
because
Because first two are in Philly.
that might be too soon.
Okay.
That might be too soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're not counting your chant.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, it's
of
the
course, 'cause
actual
that'll be
fans.
that'll be when they announce the
Yeah.
officials.
This is fictional. Everything we talk about in the radio booth is
It's
fictional. But
purely imaginative.
otherwise, the whole show is autobiographical.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
How can I say this?
How can you say it? Maybe
The-
run it by me first before
the-
you say it.
The building has been quieter of late, so I hope that doesn't hold true for the playoffs. It'd be a real shame.
Yeah, no, there were some good home crowds at the end of the season. You didn't
There
think?
were,
Against
yeah, yeah.
Cleveland,
Prices were down.
against Boston.
Prices were down.
Even the Houston crowd looked good.
That price was super down.
All right. This guy's talking inflation.
No, I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. Like I think that fourth quarter. I think that the first game one, or I guess the first game at home by the fourth quarter, there should be something. But I'm probably anticipating in the fourth quarter there'll be a refuse suck chant. Yeah.
Okay. Finally, which two Raptors players do you think are most likely to be spotted at Insomnia Cookies in Philadelphia? This was a place that Kyle and Kawhi famously went during the 2019 series. You got to pick two Raptors that'll be spotted there.
Yeah. So this is how I guess immature I was as a reporter in the profession.
Was? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Back
bro.
in 2019,
You're one of the best, bro.
back in 2019, the story came out, and I had this idea of like, why don't we go track down this Insomnia Cookies and go talk to the employees?
How's that bad? That's literally like a story idea straight out of my playbook.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So anyway, you could probably use some maturing in your profession as well.
How do we conclude on this?
No, but then I obviously I knew where the Raptors were staying. It wasn't like a big secret or anything. It's a very lavish hotel. Plus, we had gone to the hotel multiple times to interview players, whatever, right? But so I searched, and there was like two Insomnia Cookies, like of equivalent distance, to the hotel, and I guess I could have just gone to both, but I don't know. Ultimately, I was too lazy, and I didn't go. I'm a little. I kind of regret it, to be honest. You know,
Yeah.
be like, at least we could find out like what did Kyle and Kawhi order.
Yeah, maybe Sportsnet can send us there for Game 5 and Game 7.
Let's do it. You know, they have two Chinatowns in Philadelphia.
Oh man,
They have a really cool market.
yeah, we can do
Lots of
the
great food.
the Dragon Ball Z fusion dance at both
Yes.
Chinatowns and take a photo.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think Greg Sansoni is sold.
you're
I
like
think
canceled.
we're going to Philadelphia.
So you didn't name me the 2 players though. 2 players that will be spotted at Insomnia Cookies, most likely.
yeah, it's got to be like Scottie and another rookie, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
so Scottie and
No,
Delano.
just Scottie has like the energy of a guy who's eaten a lot of cookies.
Yeah, he's gonna hug every employee there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in a great way. But yeah,
actually, please social distance. Come on, Scottie.
that's right. Yeah,
Please, Scottie.
but in any case, yeah, I'm picking Scottie, and then I don't know who's Scottie's best friend on the team.
Oh, do we know that actually?
He's probably best friends with everybody on the team. Like he's just that kind of character. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's too many best
I'm
friends.
gonna go with
though.
Delano though. Yeah, Scottie and Delano go get
Cool.
Insomnia Cookies.
So we've come to this now after 9.5 hours, minus half an hour when you decide to just stay back after interviewing Bobby Webster at the practice facility to listen to Fred VanVleet talk and leave me here stranded.
Nicky Nurse, baby.
Official predictions from the 2 of us. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I got Sixers in or sorry, Sixers. I got Raptors in 7.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because you can't blow a 3-1 lead unless it goes to game 7.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to look, listen,
Mhm.
all we can do is, you know, the best determinant of future outcomes is to look at previous events.
Okay.
And when something
like that.
happens 3 times to
I like
one
that.
person
Yep.
with 3 different teams, you probably have to go like, yeah, that's probably the one. So game Raptors in 7.
I like previous events too. And listen, acknowledge it's the Raptors show. Maybe there's some bias, but tell me right now, who has a better playoff resume? Legit. Fred VanVleet or James Harden? Legit.
I mean, come on, man, it's different.
How is it different though? Who is a better who would you count on more as a quote unquote like secondary player, role player? OG Anunoby or Tobias Harris?
Okay, that's not different.
Okay.
I would take OG.
Well, I would even put up Pascal Siakam's playoff resume against Joel Embiid too. I only saw one of those guys go to the finals and perform there. All I'm saying is in a lot of the big games this year, Fred, OG, and
I like it.
Pascal
I like it.
have stepped up, and they're the guys that are going to lead the way. You know, that's the championship experience right there. Which player do you think is more likely to break out in this series? We talked about Tyrese Maxey so much. Tyrese Maxey or Scottie Barnes, who looks like a generational player.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on,
Okay.
it's gotta be Scottie.
So
I thought you were gonna say Tyrese Maxey or Precious Achiuwa. That one would have been tough too.
I mean, that's what I'm saying though. Like, why are we, you know, setting the expectations low for Scottie when he has just crushed them all year, right? Like, listen, maybe there will be rookie missteps, but I'm confident that, you know, once he shakes that off, maybe in the first couple of games, that he's going to settle in and have a huge impact on this series. Who did you say have a better bench between the Raptors
Oh,
and the
man,
Sixers?
Come on, man. Thad
So
Young,
is the
bro.
Raptors, right? Who's
Yeah.
got the better coach?
Mm.
Nicky Nurse or Mr. Glenn?
Mr. Glenn. Come on, man.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, you're
Listen,
right, man.
they've got
You're
Joel
right.
Embiid. They've got Joel Embiid. They've got James Harden. Having said all that, it's going to be a very tough series. I think, you know, the Raptors, all the concerns about the half-court scoring, can they get out in transition? How are they going to stop Joel Embiid? All of this stuff. I think all of this stuff, even the home court advantage, I think is huge. You know, the fact that the Sixers, but also as the series goes on, if it's 2-2, if it's 3-2, 3-3, is the pressure not going to build for the Sixers? Isn't the pressure only going to get ratcheted up as the series goes on? Like,
No.
if you go into a
Yeah,
game
no,
7,
You're right.
if you go into a game 7 in Philadelphia, who's got all the pressure?
Well, not James Harden, according to James Harden. James Harden's like, I'm just here to hoop.
Listen, having said all that, you know, I don't think Raptors are going to coast in this, but like, I'm going to take the Raptors in 7. I really do
Okay.
think
So you gave me a whole speech just
Yeah.
to give you the same prediction I had?
it's called
Come on,
it's
man.
called killing time. No,
Oh,
but
man.
like, I honestly think like it's going to be a long series. We've all said this, but I do think the confidence of the Raptors is only going to grow if they can get this to a game 5, game 6,
Yeah.
and to a game 7. And I don't think this team, who's one of the best road teams this year in the NBA?
The Raptors. Also the Sixers, by the way.
Yeah, but that
also-
doesn't matter.
Okay, all right.
This is not locked on Sixers right now.
All right,
But
okay.
like, all I'm
Ovi
saying,
Avanovi.
yeah, all I'm saying is listen, there's a lot of things pointing towards the Raptors beyond just the bias, beyond just the excitement. And what's the fun in picking the Sixers anyway? So
No, they
Raptors
have
in 7.
negative vibes.
so
I'm not
Raptors
picking
in
the
7.
team.
So we did it. We did it. Those are our predictions.
Hey, you know, After the Raptors championship, there's that video of me circulating of me smoking the cigar in
Yes.
Oakland.
Yes.
Are we gonna do that? Can we do that? We gotta check with the fire regulations of this building, but maybe we do something
You
similar.
want to do it in here? Yeah, we can. We can.
Listen, I got more of those, man.
Yeah.
Probably a little dried out. At this
You want
point,
to do it
but that's
after
okay.
a game 1 win, or what's going on? How low are your standards for lighting up a cigar?
No, it'll be a cigarello after game 1. but-
Light it at halftime if the Raptors are up. Light it if they're up
No,
7-3.
please. We had enough fires in the building,
Dude.
all right, man. I'm
Oh
not going to
my
be involved in any of
God.
this.
Yeah, apparently there's a patio on the 8th floor. But yes, so we both have Raptors in 7. By the way, Joseph Cacharo and Joe Wolfon, great guests yesterday. I know you didn't get them to make their predictions on
We ran
air.
out of time.
Yeah. I did hit them up. No, you just didn't read the rundown.
Okay.
I just didn't hit them. I hit them up afterwards. They after Joseph Cacharo had a lot of things. Spicy Meatball had a lot of things to say about Tobias Harris.
okay.
Had a lot of things to say about Glenn. Had a lot of things to say about Joel Embiid and everybody. And he picked the Sixers in 7. So
Yeah.
they both picked the Sixers in 7. Listen, I think you can't go wrong with making it's a toss up. To me, it's a toss up series.
I mean, look, we also know a lot more after game 1.
We will.
We'll have a much better sense of where the series is at on Monday. So even though we're in a really good mood right now, we'll see what happens after this weekend. Are we going to be even more delirious, or is it going to be a situation?
I'm not going to overreact to game 1, man.
Okay, all right.
I'm
Well,
not gonna
you know your
overreact.
role on this team.
Yeah, I know my role definitely. So let's take the break, and then when we come back, we'll wrap up this week's preview content by picking the rest of the playoff series.
Yes. No more Raptors Sixers talk. I'm so happy.
Oh,
all right.
man, we did it.
I'm your host, Willow. You've been listening to The Raptors Show, powered by DoorDash on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. I'm your host, Willow. I'm your host, Willow. You're listening to The Raptors Show on Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
Under lethal weapon. I do not finish second. Under lethal weapon. Under lethal weapon.
We are talking about one of the best franchises of the past decade. Shows Adam Silver. My 9 to 5 is a 1 to 3.
Wow.
Feels good, man. Feels good, man. Said Kawhi would stay. Said Kawhi would stay.
He stayed in our hearts. He stayed in our hearts.
Not mine.
Under lethal weapon. I do not finish second. Under lethal weapon. Under lethal weapon.
We are talking about one of the best franchises of the past decade. Shows Adam Silver.
Which is the scene or the moment or the phrase or the quote you like more from the movie? Oh, from The Godfather. So many different phrases.
Under lethal weapon. I do not finish second. Under lethal weapon. Under lethal weapon.
So many different phrases.
That's Paul's Bryce.
So many different phrases.
That's Paul's Bryce. That's Paul's Bryce.
I do not finish second. Under lethal weapon. Under lethal weapon.
Welcome back to the Raptors Show, powered by DoorDash on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. I'm your host, Walu. I am joined yet again by producer and co-host Alex Wong. Yeah, you have not gone anywhere. I have not gone anywhere. We have, a few more minutes here to talk about something other than Raptors-Sixers previews, which, listen, obviously I'm very much looking forward to this series, but after hour 10, I'm interested to see where the rest of the NBA playoffs are going to be because I'm just looking forward to a lot of these matchups.
Yeah, the new breaking case of emergency topic during the playoffs will be the playoffs.
Okay.
Whenever we need to tap into non-Raptors stuff. So I figured because, we set aside the Raptors-Sixers series because we made our predictions and that's what the show is centered around, leaves us with 7 remaining series, perfect, an odd number. We can go heads up against each other. So here's what we're going to do. So we're going to take turns picking each series, okay? So you can pick a series, and what we're going to do is when you make your pick, I have to make a pick that's different from yours. So if you pick, say, the Raptors in 7, I have to pick, if I want to pick the Raptors, it has to be in a different number of games. Or I pick the other team, so then we are going heads up in every single series to see who's more right.
Okay.
So it's basically a best of 7. And we've said this, if you win in this first round, get you a $100 SVP gift card. And I want a Sport Check $100 gift card so I can buy my Leafs jersey.
Okay, yeah. Sports gambling is still as confusing to me as it was before.
So all you need to know, okay, so you go first. You pick a series right now. So the strategy, obviously, is pick the one you're most confident in.
Yeah, Milwaukee over Chicago in 4 games.
Ah, man, this puts me in such a bind.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have no choice but to just take Milwaukee in 5.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Hope the Bulls win 1, and then I can beat you. That is really the only question is, will the Bulls get a game?
And I'm saying no.
I would completely agree with you.
No.
Like this, is there any storylines in this series that interest you at all?
Are they going to fight Grayson Allen for real? No, I'm serious. That's the main storyline to me is, are they going to fight Grayson Allen? Because
he injured Alex Caruso earlier this year.
Yeah.
And set him out.
By the way, you remember way back when Giannis was a rookie, I believe. The Bucks actually did play, maybe not a rookie. He was really young. Maybe his first.
Yes, he got into a huge fight at the end of that series.
Yeah, it was like the score was like a 150 for Chicago.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I think Giannis tackled Mike Dunleavy Jr.
Man, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. No, Giannis has been in playoff a lot. And I think the reason why I'm going with the sweep is not just because I think Milwaukee's a way better team. It's just like Milwaukee has this tendency where they almost look better than they are because when things are going right for them, it really snowballs and they just crush teams. So I'm kind of anticipating one of those series.
Okay. Let me see. Some of these are actually really tough. Okay, so because we don't know the 8th seed in both conferences yet, we're still going to go ahead and pick because I think both of us are going to take the number 1 seed anyway. So I'm going to take in the West, I'm going to take Phoenix over either New Orleans or the Clippers in 5 games.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
So you have to make a pick on this as well.
5 games, man. It's tough because you don't know who you're playing. I think I think the better team is probably New Orleans. Like they have more healthy talent. We'll see even if the Clippers even end up going through. And now that Paul George has tested positive for COVID, he's not going to play the
yes, that's correct
9-10 game. Which, by the way, this is another conversation. But I think COVID's gonna be a real factor in these playoffs, man.
Yeah,
a real factor. I mean, I think it's just like
I think we're all just looking the other way right now.
The one thing that's really interesting to me is the NBA is essentially saying we're not going to test asymptomatic players anymore, right? That's going to really cut down on the amount of absences from the players, from the league perspective. You still need to take a COVID test to cross the border, both going to the U.S. and going to Canada. So the one series that is going to be even more effective than the other ones is this one. In fact, I saw there was a suggestion that maybe the Raptors drive to like Buffalo and then fly from there, and how some people save money. That's a classic way to save money if you're flying to the States.
Yeah. That's how Blake Murphy and I got to Cleveland for the 2016 conference finals.
How much was a flight to Cleveland, bro?
I don't know. We took a Greyhound. Yeah, back in the days.
Damn.
Anyways.
Anyway, so
you gotta make a pick
gonna be a big factor here. I'll go Phoenix in 6, just in case the Clippers matchup against them, because I do think the one thing that gives Phoenix some pause and some issues is when they play all wings against them. That's why the Raptors have played really well against Phoenix. And the Clippers copy everything the Raptors do. So
Listen, the Suns, all the stats say they're a generational team, and I just got to ride with them.
yeah, fair enough.
Here in
That's
round one.
totally fair. Yeah.
Okay, what's your next series pick?
I'm gonna go Boston over Brooklyn in 6 games. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All the stats do say that Boston also another generational team since the new
Yeah.
year.
I mean, they're a bit of a not a front running team, but when they beat teams, they beat them by a ton, and it makes them ultimately look better. I mean, look, listen, I think net rating and things like this, like they're really important. Even point differential is really important to sort of predicting future results. However, if you're beating a team by 50, it's still one win at the end of the day. And how much your bench, slaps up the other bench doesn't really matter to me. So
Yeah, that's fair. You know what? You remember last year when after the series when these two teams played and there was a whole controversy about Kyrie Irving stepping on Lucky, the logo
I love
at
that.
center court.
I love that.
So I think this is going to go 7, and Game 7 will be in Boston. And I think Kyrie Irving and KD are going to pull off the upset. I have no confidence in this, but just for fun, I'm going to go with the Nets in 7.
That would be really fun. I would really enjoy seeing this after the Celtics have this incredible finish to the season, and they're touted as one of the best teams in the conference and everything like that. And by the way, the subplot of the series is Boston could have tanked their way out of this matchup, but they chose not to. And I do respect them a lot for that, actually, because it's not easy to just be like, we'll take Brooklyn. But the other matchup was they could have tanked and gone down to 4, and they didn't. And that would have been against the Raptors. So salute to the Celtics, I guess, for at least having the courage to play a team.
Yeah, the Nets are like the extreme version of the Sixers in terms of everybody says the Sixers will need to get by with their star power with their 2 stars. Like the Nets literally need Kyrie and KD to just carry them through, because outside of like Bruce Brown.
What about Ben Simmons? You're not
Patty
worried about
Mills.
Ben Simmons maybe stepping into the series
So
here?
Ben Simmons might be coming back games 4, 5, or 6 is the latest report.
Ben Simmons is the only guy who worked the NBA season less than you, man.
God damn it.
Sorry, that's right there, man. I'm sorry.
It was right there. But
Yep.
yes, I'm going to go with the Nets in 7 just to, have some fun. So my next pick, I'm going to take the Golden
You do need ESL.
I'm going to take the Golden State Warriors over the Denver Nuggets in 6 games.
Interesting. Okay.
What are your thoughts on this series?
Is Steph healthy yet?
Steph is, by all accounts, going to play game 1.
Okay. And Draymond's there and Clay's there.
Yep.
6 is a good pick.
The Nuggets have Nikola Jokic. They do not have Jamal Murray, not expected back.
No, I know.
Don't believe. You know this. Michael Porter Jr. They got swept last year in the second round by Phoenix. Golden
You know what?
State.
I'm taking Golden State in 5.
Yeah, I was afraid you were going to do that.
Yeah. Again, I don't feel super confident. My pick will be Warriors in 6 as well. I think depending on how the series is officiated and allowed to go, and I mean that in terms of like how much contact is allowed against Jokic. Same thing against the Raptors, by the way. How the series is going to be officiated is going to be a big determinant as to how the series goes. But yeah, if they let Draymond, by the way, Draymond gets one of the nicest whistles in the NBA. So if they let Draymond be Draymond against Jokic, I do trust that the rest of the Warriors supporting cast is going to be able to come in there and do a pretty big job and get past this team. And plus they have a lot of veteran experience too.
Lot of
Iguodala's
vets.
available, all this other stuff. So
Iguodala. No, like you talk about having another gear. Like the Warriors to me are a team that clearly have another gear that I think they could get to.
yeah, we even saw it earlier this season, right? Like they were one of the best teams in the NBA. Then a couple injuries hit. Then Steph went cold for a little bit. Then Clay comes back. He's inconsistent. And ultimately you go through a whole season like that and there's all these storylines, but it's really just about like what do you do when it matters the most. And for me, I still trust Golden State.
No, I trust Golden State because
Yeah.
as you know, in the playoffs,
I guess I just trust them slightly more than you.
no one's trying to lose. So what is your Knicks? Why do I keep saying New York Knicks? What is your pick?
Bing bong. Oh, geez. That one shocked me to my core. I'm gonna go Miami in 5, both over Atlanta or Cleveland. I don't really care which one. Yeah.
Okay.
I really trust this Miami team. I think I actually over the course of the season, I thought they were the team to me in the Eastern Conference that had really good depth, really good just a mix of veterans with enough outside shooting as well, and a really creative coach. And I trust playoff Kyle Lowry. And you know, I do know what Jimmy Butler can do. I know there's a lot of slander against Jimmy. That's fine. But like, at the end of the day, I ultimately trust the Heat. They're the number 1 seed for a reason. They've been that way for the whole year. And yeah, I'm gonna take the Heat as 5. I don't even care who it is. I mean, I think Atlanta will obviously be a lot trickier than Cleveland, but I'm still going with Miami.
What if Kyle scores 0 points in game 1?
That's why that's in 5. I'm pricing in 1 0-point game.
Max Strus said Kyle's the best point guard in the league. I love this time of year when, you know, approaching the playoffs. It's
Okay,
just all positive vibes from people.
The best point guard in the league?
No, but at this time of the year, everybody's talking up their teammates. This is what I love.
Yeah,
Like Joel Embiid coming to bat for James Harden.
that's fair. Yeah, you know, Utah did come to the podium wearing a Scottie Barnes Rookie of the Year shirt. Yeah.
Haven't heard anyone gone to bat for Glenn yet, but you know.
Yeah, and you don't hear Joel Embiid at the press conference being like, "Yeah,
That's my Glenn.
that's
That's Glenny Rivers, baby.
it's not
So
happening.
we got 2 more series left. You know what? I'm gonna have some fun. I'm gonna take Dallas in 7
Really?
over Utah. Luka Doncic doesn't look like he's gonna play tomorrow. I think Luka's gonna come back in this series, and if he's back and he's operating at like
Man, A
80%,
calf strain?
I know this is a wild pick. I just want to have fun. I don't want to pick the Jazz. I just don't want to pick the Jazz.
The Jazz do have negative vibes.
I'm gonna lose this damn gift card because I just want to pick the Mavs. Taking the Mavs in 7. Luka Doncic has a heroic first round. Finally carries them past into the second round.
Yeah. I don't like picking Utah in this case either. But listen, if Luka is not 100%, I mean, he is the team. We talked about. Remember, we had Lewis on yesterday. I know you remember. You were holding it down solo and hosting. Talking about heliocentric offenses. You know, right?
No, he's the
Back in the-
most.
back
He's
in
the
the-
most heliocentric. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's like this is as heliocentric as it gets. I mean, we might have to call Copernicus into.
Oh, whoa! I just think. I mean, this is the test of the vibes, man. This is the ultimate extreme test of the vibes. Because on paper, without Luka or even with Luka struggling, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Utah's kind of a slept-on team if you look at the numbers.
I'll go Utah in 7, I guess. I don't know, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I guess
So-
I'm just really Price is Writing you, really, because any
Yeah,
sort
yeah,
of
yeah.
Utah outcome. I'm
No,
going
this is
closer to,
all it is. So we have one final series left, which you can make the pick on,
Mhm.
and that would be the number 2 seeded Memphis Grizzlies against Patrick Beverley's Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, I actually think this might be a longer series than anticipated. Both teams are quite young, and not 100% sure of like the status of a guy like John Morant. Honestly, Cat. Obviously we saw the erratic performance he had in the playing game. Thankfully, other guys were able to step up. I'm gonna take Memphis, but in 7.
Hmm.
Yeah, maybe
Wow,
maybe this is too optimistic for the Wolves, but
Man,
well, Memphis in 7.
is that more because you feel
I'm a
good
little
about the Wolves, or
pessimistic.
you're not sure about Memphis?
I'm a little pessimistic about Memphis in this sort of matchup. I think for a team like that, you have so much depth.
Mhm.
Guys go down, right? Everyone talks about the stat like they're like 20-2 without Ja or whatever. Like they have really quality players on the roster. They play their style and they go to the playoffs. And then it's like, okay, you cut down your rotation. Turns out there is not another gear. Like you're not cutting out a bad player in the rotation. Like what's one bad player in Memphis' rotation? That's like one time for playoffs, we're just gonna not play him. I don't know.
It's like when the Raptors had the bench mob.
Yeah, very similar to that. Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
So okay, I'll just take Memphis in 6
that's a good pick. Yeah.
and hope that works out. All right. As I look at the clock, we got 4 minutes left. Most underrated character in Dragon Ball Z. I got Android 16. Who you got?
That's pretty good. That's a tough question, man.
Mm-hmm.
Is Piccolo underrated?
Yeah, but he was around for so long though.
Yeah, I know. I'll go Piccolo. I don't know.
Future
you know what?
Trunks. Future Trunks was my favorite character growing up.
Well, I mean, everyone wanted to. Trunks was like the biggest thing for a while.
I thought Vegeta. People love Vegeta, right?
Yeah, but he's literally like a main character at that point. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess Piccolo is too, but
That's
whatever.
fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect Cell.
Yeah.
I love the English names, by the way.
By the way,
Mr. Satan.
not to talk about their Orlando Magic every single time, but that
Again?
clip of
Oh, Cell.
perfect Cell in an Orlando Magic jersey, dunking the ball, shooting 3-pointers, it's one of the greatest videos ever. that I've
Please,
ever
if you
seen.
haven't seen this, go Google like perfect cell Orlando Magic.
No, I'll just tweet it out. Just
Yeah.
look at my timeline.
Yeah, look, go check his Twitter. It's one of the best.
Yeah. Now, Alex dies every time he sees this clip. So
Yeah. These last 5 minutes is always this is the filler, you know.
Yeah.
The filler
Favorite
episode.
favorite scene in Rush Hour. By the way, so you know,
Okay.
so on Twitter you have the bookmarks function where you can like keep it. Essentially, it's like a meme folder. That's
Oh,
what it's
okay.
really good for, right? So
I put mine in a Google Doc.
yeah,
so
'cause you're
you-
old.
You tell me I gotta step up.
But I'm telling you, like, as I'll even show you my meme folder. I have like so many
Just things
Rush
that are
Hour
saved. Yeah.
clips in here. So your favorite scene from Rush Hour, 1, 2, or 3?
Ah, that's tough, man. I think it's when is it Juntao? We always mess up the characters.
Just call him Juntao. It's saying, but it's
when
Juntao,
it's
yeah.
when he makes that, what was it, the Chelsea Clinton joke?
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, the karaoke scene I think is number one. So I think the karaoke scene I didn't even want to pick it because I feel like that's the number one pick.
I want 20 million and 20.
even-
20 million 50.
Yeah, even
10
when
million and 10.
even when they visit the massage establishment.
Yep. Iconic scene.
Yeah. So there's a lot.
I thought you were gonna say when Chris Tucker.
And what about
finally-
when they fought with all the bamboo stuff, right? Like,
Oh yeah, that's a really good nod to Hong Kong cinema
yeah.
with that one.
What did you
The
think I
street
was gonna
fight.
say?
I thought you were gonna say when Chris Tucker, meets Juntao for the last time before he, ultimately outduels him, and he said,
Oh.
"Yeah, I've been looking for your sweet and sour chicken ass." I was-
Okay. You know
that
what?
clip is so funny, man. I'm sorry.
Actually, no. Retract all my picks. It's Don Cheadle's cameo.
Oh, that's
Don
right.
Cheadle's
that's right.
Cameo like always cracks me up.
And you can
whenever I
confirm
see it.
that was Cantonese that you could understand.
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
That
That's
is
a good
correct.
pick. That's a good. By the way, if you like this conversation that we're having in the last 2 minutes here
Yeah.
to fill time, go check out the Stephen LeBron radio podcast.
Go check out the Raptors show when the playoffs are over. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're
So you're
gonna
saying
do.
it's gonna be sooner than later? Yeah,
We're
you're
gonna
right.
draft.
No, Stephen LeBron radio, man. Listen, go
We-
look it up.
We should draft. We should draft all-time rush hour scenes. That would actually be a really good draft.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we just did it, but yeah.
No, there's we could do a whole segment. on
We
this.
made it. We made it. Shouts to everybody for listening this week.
Yes.
Shouts to the LuTube stream.
Okay.
Everyone on the podcast feed, radio, watching on Sportsnet 360. We'll be back on Monday, and we'll have a game. We'll have a game 1 to recap, to talk about, and we'll have a game 2 to preview.
That's right. That's all for us today. I'm your host, Will Lou. You've been listening to the Raptors Show, powered by DoorDash on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. We will talk to you next week. And finally,